Hey, welcome back to another Deep Dive with Derek. I'm your host, Derek. My friends call me D-Rock. Welcome to another Phish reaction. Now, I've got Alpine coming up in 1 week, about. I don't know when I'm going to upload this, but as I'm recording it, it's about a week and 2 days away. So um, it's going to be fun. We're going to get there early. I've had some good tips from everybody. Get there early, bring a shade source, bring some chairs, bring some coolers. I had mentioned not wanting to. I've heard horror stories about trying to leave. Not so much the traffic once you get out of the parking lot, but trying to get out of the parking lot is awful. So we talked, my wife and I are going to bring some tables and a grill, some food. So if you want some snacks, come check us out. I'll be in this shirt. And we'll have a black go-kart. Picture of a tiny little black sedan, at least for road trips we do. So let me know. My wife is chasing Contact. Contact, I think that's off Junta. This simple little silly song that kind of goes down, down the scale. Do 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 do. She cracks up every time she hears that song. So whoever, if you got to talk to, run it up the flagpole, try to get the bug into the band's ear that we're chasing Contact. Or my wife is chasing Contact. Myself, I've got a whole list of songs that I would be very happy to hear, including, I think, Bathtub Gin, Tweezer Stash, Fluffhead, You Enjoy Myself. I mean, these are songs that I would absolutely be happy to hear. Ghost, Moment Dance, Punch You in the Eye, I could hear. So these are some of the songs. Divided Sky, Reba, Split Open and Melt, Run Like an Antelope, Harry Hood. Harry Hood I need to revisit. That was the very first song that I ever checked out. And many of you in the comments section said it was a really crappy version, which is interesting because that was my first intro into Phish. And that's the song I tend not to revisit. I haven't listened to it very often, and it might be because it was a crappy version or something. So I need to revisit Harry Hood. Mike's song, Sample in a Jar. Anyway, this is getting pretty long, but this is what I'm searching for. I'm going to be at Alpine next Saturday, and I'll see, hopefully, some of you there. Here I've got the Evolve album. It's the first album that I bought, and I bought it on record. This is my first Phish album that I've purchased, and I listened to it last night. So I'm going to go through and tell you what you think, just so you know, just kind of, this isn't how I normally go through albums. With albums, I usually watch it and listen to it and record myself listening to it. That's usually because you all are so familiar with these songs, and it's interesting to see somebody listen and hear the stuff for the first time, react to the music, react to the lyrics, and that kind of stuff. This one, many of you might not have even heard the whole album yet, so I thought I would just kind of go through, and it would be a lot shorter. Maybe not a lot shorter, but it would be somewhat shorter to go through and just tell you what I thought. So if you're hoping to watch it with me, go listen to it on your own first if you want, because we're not going to listen to full songs here. Also, I'm fully admitting I am not a Phish head, so I'm not going to be able to weave in and out. How does this relate to that song? And is this one going to be able to turn into type 2? Or that stuff is above my pay grade. I'm also not analyzing this in some musical fashion. Some people get all uptight because I'm not like, he's not even a musician. Why do we listen to this guy? Yeah. Why are you listening? Indeed. It's very easy to find a new video. So those are my disclaimers. This is a new person's reaction. Person who loves listening to albums, records. This is my interpretation of this with my little Phish knowledge that I have. So let's jump right in. Hey Stranger. And some of these, looks like, let me see. Yeah, a lot of these seem to have been recorded elsewhere. And I think Hey Stranger was one of those. Hey Stranger was an interesting song. It was pretty simple, kind of just rocky in the beginning. Let's remind ourselves what that was about.
It's all I know. Finding ways to stay. Hey, stranger, come crash for a minute. It's all I know. Finding ways to stay. Hey, stranger, come crash for a minute.
It's very simple. It's do, 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 do. And it's kind of repetitive. It kind of has a vibe of couch surfing. You know, hey, what was it? All I know is how to find places to stay. And hey, stranger, come and crash for a minute. I have no idea if that's what that means or not. But it just kind of had a pop rock feel to it. It did get nice. Like there was this cool jam later on. Let's see if we can get there. Bit of dark and started out a little pop rocky. This definitely ventured into some new territory. It got a lot more rock by the end, that solo. So it's kind of started out repetitive and pop rock as it hit my ears and kind of evolved into that, which was kind of cool. Then we get to Oblivion, and I have to say probably my favorite song on the album, because as if you've seen me before, you know I tend to have an existential filter on my eyes. And this is just simply, this is a song about a guy who died. You know, this lyrics like cold. Let's see. Let's remind ourselves this one. It's catchy. The way that he delivers this lyrically, that's really catchy too. And so the lyrics, just to kind of get through this, he's not in pain anymore, right? So he's like, I've got no more stones on my chest. I don't have anything weighing me down. Got nothing left to do. I'm not mad anymore. I'm a little bit cold, but I can sleep now. And then he's like, going into the ground. He's in layers of the soul, and he's in with the oil, because oil comes from the ground. And then he says he's warming up a bit, which means he's died and now he's going into hell, as I see it. In hell, he sees the Reaper and Oblivion awaits. Really interesting song. It doesn't have any lessons. It doesn't say, like, live your life now because Oblivion awaits or anything like that. It just, here's the story of a person who died and doesn't have any earthly troubles anymore, but now down through to hell. Now, I love the piece where Trey keeps saying, I crash through the shale and splash in the oil, and then somebody else, it sounds like the rest of the band, sings Oblivion awaits. That little call and response piece, really catchy. Let's check that out.
I crash through shale and splash in oil.
Anyway, digging this song. And then next we got the title track, Evolve. And Evolve, remind you, here's what it sounds like. That one, it's got this like light feel to it. It's a little bit jazzy, right? And it's got this cool piano bit to it. There's some really cool like bass and some drum fills in there that I really enjoy. Um, the lyrics themselves, this is interesting. This is a song about God describing its difficulty, or the difficulty in designing something, and he says, "Nah, I'll just let this evolve." So I thought that was interesting. So that was Evolve title track. I kind of liked it. I've heard other people say, seen other chatterings that this is a song that they absolutely hate, but whatever. I rather like it. Let's check out some more of it. Like this part that they go over and over. Think about that line though. This is an amazing line. So he's describing, as if it's a god letting people evolve. Light and sound and worlds, and then there's people. And with these people come problems and hope. You might say that the upside of life and the dark side of life. And neither of those mean a thing if they just could see the scope. Love that.
First came the light, then came the sound, then came the worlds that could never slow down, then came the people with problems and hope that don't mean a thing if they just knew the scope.
And then next we had a Wave of Hope, and that one had a lot of classic rock feel to it, to me. And then there was this really cool call and response at the end of that one. It didn't catch me at first, but it does seem like the song that will grow on me over time. But first listen, it wasn't for me. Let's check it out. Deep Purple. Smoke on the Water. Sort of reminded me.
The pillow drums rolls in shallow breaths as dancing silvery rain.
Notice that he said pillow jets there, and the next song is Pillow Jets. That was interesting. The common lyric here is "This too shall pass. This too shall pass." Interesting, to say that's the wave of hope. When something bad happens, this too shall pass is what people say to get through some of the dark side of life. Interestingly, I found it more helpful to not leave it ambiguous and try to put a number on it. And so if you stub your toe, this too shall pass, of course. But you might say, oh, this is one of those 4-minute situations. Or you get your heart broken. Okay, this is going to be about a month-long thing. Right? So you can actually peg it. You can actually put a number on it. And I touch on this a little bit in the song. This also applies to the other side of life. When good things happen, that will also pass. It's from Buddhism, where everything or nothing lasts. Everything goes away. And so trying to grasp to the good is the same as trying to push away the bad. So this too shall pass. It kind of sounds like it's hopeful, but it also applies to the good side of life too. So they got this cool little keyboard, guitar kind of, I don't know if it's call and response, but they're playing with those two instruments here. That was A Wave of Hope. Pillow Jets. Pillow Jets was mentioned in the song before it. Pillow Jets, I didn't like it. The first few licks, I thought, oh, this is not going to be a song that I like. And then the lyrics came in, and just the way they did the lyricism, the way Trace lays it down, it won me over. And so I rather liked the song. It kind of sounded like a lot like Simon and Garfunkel, or maybe some kind of '60s song. But then all of a sudden it changed. It got a bit darker partway through the song, um, almost a bit like Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine. So it kind of started out for me as, I don't really like this. Okay, now it kind of sounds like some '60s folk rock, and then it kind of turned into Rage Against the Machine stuff. Let's listen to the beginning. I was like, ugh. It's got a summer breeze vibe to it. Let's check this out.
See the curtains hanging in the window in the evening on a Friday night.
Now back to Pillow Jets. It's not the same, but it feels like they're siblings.
They will come on pillow jets of sound, the proof of wonder. Celestial
I just like how he's
down, the ghost enchanter,
singing it.
the eagle guide, beautiful and brown, beautiful and brown. They will come to form one tribe, the tone romancer, mosaic spirit scribe, crimson robe, the golden firelight crown, high above the ground, high above the ground.
And when they say pillow jets of sound, Phish does this thing where they try to make things sound like other things. When I was just listening to it on the record, it was unconscious of sound. That's what I heard. I thought he was saying unconscious of sound. And then I heard it differently. I was like, wait a second, what are they singing?
On pillow jets of sound,
Sounds like unconscious of sound.
on pillow jets of sound, on pillow jets of sound, on pillow jets of sound.
So that's kind of how it starts. And then it takes this turn and it gets into some more darker stuff. Let's check that out.
Pillow jets of conjurers of thunder, pillow jets of conjurers of thunder, pillow jets of conjurers of thunder, pillow jets of conjurers of thunder.
That's where it starts to sound like Tom Morello's doing his thing. Newbie effects. That was Pillow Jets. Next we got Lonely Trip, another one. So Hey Stranger, Evolve, Wave of Hope, and now Lonely Trip, and along with Mercy. These are all songs that have been released somewhere else. Lonely Trip. Let's take a listen to how this opens. Like the snare work.
when I see through the deception and the rivers flowing free. You may understand the reason why I'm drifting out to sea. While you're on this lonely trip, keep a watch for other ships, and if by chance our vessels pass, perhaps we'll finally meet at last.
I like the concept of the song, the lyrics. They obviously know each other, but they're both on their own lonely ships, and maybe if they pass, they'll finally meet, which is interesting. Now, this song, I cannot at all listen to it and not hear the Pretender. Jackson Brown's Pretender. Here we go.
When the evening rolls around, I'll go on home and lay my body down. And when the morning light comes streaming in, I'll get up and do it again.
Before I get copyright striked, but that's what I hear. Seriously, what I hear with Lonely Trip.
You may understand the reason when the water turns to sand.
Anyway, so that's what I get from Lonely Trip. So next, Life Saving Gun. I gotta be honest, I didn't get it. It's not my favorite. Let's see, what did I read about it? It's more hard rock, and I don't, there are some exceptions aside, but I don't typically go for the hard rock. It doesn't fit, it doesn't land with me. There were some interesting drum. There was a good section here towards the end of it, but Life Saving Gun. It just sounds like what you'd hear your neighbors' teenagers playing in their garage, like trying to learn how to play AC/DC or some shit. So that one, didn't much care for it, although there was some parts at the end that I thought were interesting. So there's the part that I thought was kind of cool. But anyway, not my thing. And then we got Monsters, though. Now, Monsters, I liked Monsters a lot. Monsters sounds like a metal band that does a slow song, like Metallica doing Unforgiven or something. Although arguably some people will say Metallica is not really a metal band, but you know what I'm saying. It sounds like a hard rock band that's doing a slow song, and so that it's just got this cool sound to it. Unforgiven or Nothing Else Matters. Got a little bit of a slow vibe, but he's talking about waking up in his bed with the monsters in his head. Now let's give him a pass on the cheap lyric, the cheap rhyming. You know, bed and head. Yeah. But it sounds like a meditation or a song about Trey's drug days back when he was on drugs, right? You know, you guys know. Watch Coventry and you'll know. So that's what I got. That's the vibe I got with Monsters. And that's solo too at the end.
Easy now, easy now. Easy now, easy now. I wake up in my bed with monsters in my head.
Eerie and minor tones.
Easy now, easy now, easy now. I wake up in my bed with monsters in my head.
We'll go through. Let's listen to the words here.
Full of smoke and shadows has clouded my vision for so long, and I recall a time when I used to belong. The wreckage of the past and the fear of tomorrow haunts my mind. I'm searching for a way to make it all rewind.
Some embarrassing pieces in his past and such. Love the song. Now I'm going to try to find that solo that I like. So that's Monsters. Check that one out. Next, we got Ether Edge. Ether Edge was interesting. It had the 60s vibe again, you know, that Simon and Garfunkel type sound. And it sounded like in the lyrics that he was describing kind of the healing power of nature. And then he has the, you know, the one line in there, Ether Edge, which is the shout out to the title of the song. And it sounded like he was calling out an ether high. But here's the 60s sound that I think it sounds like.
Moving water show us the way as the moon begins to rise, and through the air she flies. And as the night closes in, it all
the vocals
rolls away, and the wires in her brain are torn and frayed.
I mean, it's catchy, but it's I don't know. It's interesting. It does have the 60 vibe. I can't remember if that one takes a turn. A lot of these songs start out one way and they kind of evolve into something different. Hey, they evolve. That was no pun intended there, but that would have been a funny intentional pun. So Human Nature, I loved Human Nature. It was short and it was describing the human condition, you know. Why, if I'm so good, why do I screw up? You know, it's super short, but I thought it was catchy. Now, I will say, I've noticed this thing about myself. Often when I first listen to an album, and I'm more familiar, as many of you know, with Dave Matthews Band, when I first listen to a new album, there's this weird, and I'll use this intentionally, evolution, where the songs that I like first are the songs that they drop off my radar later. And the songs that I didn't necessarily like at first become favorite songs of mine. So that could be very well possible here too. So just keep that in mind. But here's Human Nature. Just love that drumming bit.
If we are complete the way that we are, why not fall off a seat at the Moonrise Bar?
If we're complete the way that we are, why did I fall off the stool at the bar? Anyway, it's funny.
In a lovesick fog, attack of unease, see your cold stare and brought down to my knees.
catchy little short song. And that brings us to Valdese. Valdese, I don't know what that word is. I looked it up, and there's a town in North Carolina, but I couldn't find any other meaning to it. And he does say, trying to get back to Valdese, this is a dark song. But I don't think the music was dark. It sounded like country, if I remember right at first. You know, the like the madman can slip his knife in, I think was in there. Trying to see if I wrote anything down. Oh, there's a line in here. The more I read, the more I feel deceived. Love that line because it's an homage to this very real thing. Is the more you learn, or the more you realize there's so much you don't know. It's this weird contradiction of the more you read, the more you study, the more well-read you become, the more stupid you feel because there's just so much more. You learn more about what you don't know, which is fascinating. And that's kind of what I heard in that one. So let's check it out. The country sound, right? It's like some Spanish style to it, too.
Please return the focus to the setting where I left. I'll picture you floating with the ghosts above the trees. My camera is the soul to those armies long forgotten, and the picture tells the story in the chapter on Valdese. Valdese. For leaving can be golden on the wing, and I can't swim, but if I can, I'll sing. The mail arrives, I read and then I leave, because the more I read, the more I feel deceived.
The more I read, the more I feel deceived. And then somewhere this takes a turn, and he talks about somebody sliding a knife into somebody and a ghost going up in a tree and waiting to pounce on the person who's going to Valdese. It's interesting. It's dark.
The madman can slide the knife inside, but who then has their sights set on him?
Madman can slide his knife inside, but then who has his sights on the madman? It's almost like a food chain, but a violence chain, or I don't know. It's interesting.
And the ghost in the orchard will sharpen his teeth and climb way up in a tree and wait for some poor fool to wander beneath on his blind journey to Valdese.
I mean, you never guess from the happy-go-lucky sound of this song that it's about a madman killing somebody and a ghost sharpening his teeth, climbing in a tree, waiting for somebody to come by. Super interesting, super weird. So the next one was only on the record, so I can't find that on my streaming service here. So let me go find this on YouTube somewhere. The Well starts off really upbeat and really upbeat. There is one line that's gripe that I have. He says, "Every fountain has a penny in the bottom of the well." The fountain has a penny in the bottom of the well. Is it a fountain or a well? Get your shit together, guys. A fountain can't have a penny at the bottom of a well unless you've got a well inside a fountain. Anyway, gripe over. Partway through the song, you get this amazing key solo, and that leads into some guitar. And then before you know it, all of a sudden, this is got some metal tune to it. So it starts off as this upbeat song, and then somewhere along the lines, it evolves, just like all these other songs do, into something pretty dark. So it starts off this way.
Every rainbow has a blue jay, perched atop a pot of gold.
starts off this way, and then eventually we get to some keys. Into that guitar. And somewhere along the lines, it turns into this. Not my bag, it's not my cup, but so that's the well, and it was interesting, and it took you on a journey just like everything else does. And then you get to Mercy. Mercy was kind of snoozy. I thought this was a snoozy song. Let's see if I wrote anything else. Well, I did like, again, there were some more keys in here, and I thought it was a fitting way to close the album, but it started out so snoozy.
I am water.
So it's super snoozy. And then there's the key bit in there. I feel like this part. Seems to be some strings in there too. Anyway, I thought it was a good way to end the album. Overall, I noticed a water theme, a lot of rivers, streams, water falling on clouds. There seemed to be a lot of water as a common theme, so I thought that was interesting. Definitely Oblivion was my favorite song. Monsters was good. I thought Evolve was okay. Or actually, Evolve was pretty good. So let me know what you think. What do you think of the album? What parts do we disagree on? But more importantly, what parts do we agree on? Let me know in the comments. I look forward to seeing you at Alpine, hopefully, and I'll see you here next time.